Yo. Um, what must I say? Well, how you doing? How you doing? Um, just to be honest, I mean, it's a funny thing to say because I'm looking to talk. I'm looking to express myself. Um, I'm feeling a real need to right now. I mean, if I if I want to listen to someone, you know, I can ring someone, I can have them talk and talk and talk, you know. But if I want to talk, then, well, let's just say I want to talk. So that's what I'm doing in this video. I'm talking. Um, what I'm holding space for right now is that I'm stuck on I am stuck on something right now, which is the amount of comments that I get off people. Let me just get my I'm using one hand on the phone. I need to get all the hair off this band. How's that look? I'm not looking. I don't like to look. I don't like to look at the screen. If I look at the screen, I'm fucked. Because I keep looking again and again and again, and then I stop making eye contact with the camera. So yeah. So yeah, what I'm stuck on is the amount of comments that I'm getting, you know. It could be A, which is that, see, because I'm from the 1980s, right? Those are my major years of like happiness in my life, the 1980s. I know, I know. I help me. I mean, that's like, how many years ago is that? It's 2019 now, so that's, fuck me, that's a few years ago, innit? You know, anyway, I'm getting off track. So A is because the person I was, I mean, this could be A1 or A2, because A1 is the person I was back then. I was a totally different person. I had like some kind of Asperger's or something. I wasn't into having conversations with people. I wasn't into expressing myself in words. I wasn't listening to what people were saying, you know. It could be because nobody spoke to me, you know, nobody talked to me, so I never learned how to listen. I don't know. Anyway, so A2, that's A1. A2 is that back in the 1980s, there were no, I've got an ache, got an achy arm. There were no computers, and what computers do is they share information. One computer will speak to another computer via the internet, you know. So there were no computers, there was no internet, you know. Well, yeah, there was, but they, you know, you know where I'm coming from, right? I mean, I don't know what year the internet was invented, you know. It probably was invented. Computers were invented, so they were both invented, but they had never like evolved into what they are today, you know. Sharing information so much, you know, every phone talking to every other phone, you know, with WhatsApp, Facebook and all that, you know. And people have mirrored what computers do. People will make comments, people will express themselves, because at the end of the day, it's just sharing information. But that's kind of the opposite of the point that I'm making, because what I'm saying is, because of that, that's the change between the 1980s and now. And so people, although people spoke to each other, people talked, people had conversations, not that I would be much aware of that at the time, because I wouldn't. But people weren't sharing information as freely and as openly as they do nowadays. So that's A2. So what have we got? Comments, right? That's one. Okay, so B would be, because I'm like a female now. Trust me, I am. I know what sex I am, you know. Because I'm a female now, right? What it is people are more freely express themselves to girls than they do boys, because I guess boys will get pissed off if they get comments. You know, they will confront the person who made the comment. I don't know. Anyway, this is all just speculation. This is all just thinking about reasons, really. So B is that because I was a boy before, and it could just be that because I share my feelings, I make comments. You know, I do. I make comments, you know, on buses or when I'm in busy places. When I'm around people, I just like to throw a comment out there, you know. And this is because I'm female, I guess. I mean, I'm not trying to be sexist here. I'm not trying to say that like females are more open than males are. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking out loud, thinking what reasons it could be. Anyway, it's because what it is. It's because and it's relevant for me to say that I had some kind of I couldn't listen, and I couldn't express, you know, I couldn't listen to the words that people were saying. I literally couldn't, like, when people spoke, it confused me. It confused me, and I couldn't understand what they were saying. And I couldn't express myself either with words. You know, I was very much sort of a feels kind of person. You know, I would just sit there around people. I'd be happy just to be around people, you know. And what I'd be picking up on, what I'd be getting joy and pleasure from in life, you know, would just be sitting around people and just feeling the vibes. I would just feel like a sense of well-being, a sense of happiness, a sense of love, you know, etc., you know. And when I watch TV, what I'd be getting out of TV would be the vibes of like the program I'm watching. You know, I'd like something like Murder She Wrote or something like that, because remember, this is back in the 1980s. Or like I used to love what's that thing where they're in that Battlestar Galactica, you know, and things like that. The A-Team. Oh, so humiliating. No, it's like, let me say that another way. I've watched the A-Team now, and I can't. Go watch the A-Team. You know you're gonna. Oh my god, what it does to your mind. What it does to your mind. No, I can't deal. I watch the A-Team and I can't deal. I'm like, no, no. I just can't cope. Can't cope with the A-Team. I can't. Um, you know, but what it is that I would be a feels kind of person. I would get my pleasure from feels. You know, that's what I would do. And so the person I was back then was very different. I've changed a lot. I get a lot of pleasure now from talking, you know, and that's why I have a need to talk, because, you know, listening is one thing, you know, and I really enjoy that. And that is, you know, something good. It's something that I couldn't do when I was younger. Like I say, people would confuse me when they spoke. And I wouldn't be able to get a message out of what they were saying. So I really enjoy listening to people, and that's great. And like I enjoy speaking as well. But that's something that's changed because as I transitioned from male to female, that in that way where I couldn't understand people and I couldn't speak, that changed. I started to be able to read, to be able to listen, to be able to express myself, and that's something that I really enjoy. So it could be that, you know, I went there with like, oh, it's not sexism, it's like females communicate more. And I can understand why I would think that because as a male, I didn't communicate, and as a female, I do. So naturally, I would, go there because I feel it's relevant. But again, I'm not saying that females do it more than males. I'm just saying that as I transition, that's what happened to me. But that could be one reason why comments, right? This actually hurts me. It really hurts me because I've been really hurt by comments. Really, really hurt. I don't know why my mind would be coming from a place where I felt that every comment was negative. If people made a comment, I would feel that was negative. It was like I had some kind of feeling that it wasn't okay, for people to make comments. I mean, at the time, this is early in my transition, where I just started taking estrogen. I wasn't making comments to people. I was very much, and this is, like I say, this is not the way I feel now, but I felt that it was, I was coming from a place where like, I didn't make comments, I didn't express myself. This was still the male side of me, the person I was when I was. You know where I'm going with this. I started off male, I became female. On the male side of things, I didn't communicate. And I was like offended by people making comments to me because I didn't know how. I didn't understand. I just couldn't relate. And the more I've transitioned, the more comments I've gotten. Literally, it's become crazy. I mean, I was at the dentist on it's Sunday today, and I was at the dentist on Wednesday, right? And I got called a slag twice when I was in the surgery, and once by one of the receptionists, once by this guy. There was this guy and girl there, yeah, and they were like Eastern European or something. He was quite attractive. She was quite attractive. She had these sexy like leggings on with stripes down the sides, red stripes down the sides. She had very sexy legs. Obviously, I couldn't understand what they were saying because they were speaking in a foreign language, but he called me a slag. And then I went to the bus stop, and this girl, she's more of a woman, not a girl, a woman. It's just my slang. I always call a female a girl, She called me a bastard, and then so I caught the bus and I went to Ferry Meadows. This is all within about an hour, and I got called a virgin when I was at Ferry Meadows. So that's a good example of the amount of comments that I get. That's like 4 an hour, and but like I say, I give out the same amount that I get, so it's really confusing why I would feel like getting comments is stressful, but it is stressful. That's exactly the right word to use. It's stressful. Getting all these comments is stressful. It is stressful, and it comes from a place where my reality is needs work, and I think I feel that the reason I'm finding it stressful is because there's something in me that needs to be fixed. It's something in me that when I was male, I would be offended by comments. I guess, how do I put this? In a way that's good. How do I put this in a good way? I think the way to do it is to say what I am more now. I'm more empathic. There's more love in, there's more love that I feel from the comments that I get. There's more love, and that's what I need to fix. I need to feel more love for the people who are making the comments. I need to feel more empathy and more understanding of where they're coming from. I mean, see, the thing is, when a comment is said in that moment, there's no awareness of what the comment means. In me, it takes time for that comment to sort of enter my being, sort of flow around in my aura, and for me to get the answer of where they were coming from. I mean, a lot of the times, well, twice, I can think of two occasions, like when she said bastard, she was triggered because I'd asked her what time the bus was getting here, and it triggered her, and that's why she said it, and there was this guy on the bus, yeah, and I was at Queensgate, right? This is the big bus station in the centre of Peterborough. I was at Queensgate, and I'd caught the number 1 bus, and it goes straight to Ferry Meadows. It stops at Queensgate, and then it goes on to Ferry Meadows. And so I'm sort of north of the city. Queensgate is central, and Ferry Meadows is like south, but it kind of does a dog leg. It's sort of southwest. So I'm thinking, my intention is to carry on to Ferry Meadows all the way on the number 1 bus, but I need the toilet. So I get off the bus and I say, excuse me, please, girls. There's these 2 lovely looking girls, about 6 or 7, and really adorable. I don't know them, but that's how they came across. And he says, I kill you, because like there's this feminine sort of, finding these girls adorable is like a very feminine thing, and it's like this feminine sort of language and consciousness and awareness coming from somebody who looks like a man, and he's coming from a space where he feels like, let me just go back, actually. Let me just go back to where I'm coming from. So, I'm getting... Anyway, I'll just continue with this. So, he's... comments, they enter my being, sort of enter my being. I mean, at the moment he said it, it just felt like pure hate, and it was really pure hate, because he'd had his awareness challenged by what I said. A man coming out with something so, I don't know how to describe it, feminine, a man coming out with something so feminine, and he thought that, he said, I kill you, you have a heart, sort of thing. And I could, once it had entered my being and it had flowed around inside my aura, for a while, then I realised, I could understand the mechanics of how he got triggered, and where he was coming from. And so it takes time for these comments to sort of flow around, and for that, how I was speaking of, like, for that awareness of what they mean to come in. And so I don't know. That's the shit right there, which is the awareness, the empathy, and all that. That's where I'm heading towards. I started off male, where I was literally triggered by every comment I got, because to be real, I couldn't empathize with the person who spoke, you know, because I suppose understanding the words that were said, which I had a problem with, came along with empathy. You know, I had an empathy problem as well. I couldn't empathize with what the people were saying, and maybe my lack of empathy for people was blocking me from being able to understand what they said. You know, that was my lack of empathy. It could have been, you know. So, yeah. Um, I, I, I've got a bit caught up in, you know, as I've spoken, I've got a bit caught up in the content of what I'm describing. You know, I don't know how I started this video, but you know, it was like A1, A2. You know, why I find it difficult for, you know, to be getting comments off people. I mean, there is a number two. There's A1, there's A2, and then there's a B. And B is because I'm trans, you know. Because I'm trans, I'm kind of, someone in the Mormon church described me as oh, they used a word, and this is just, it is what I just heard this word once, so I don't know if I can remember what the word was. It was something like glamorous, you know. There's something glamorous about me. Yeah, it's, being trans is like, because I'm trans, I get to make these like zany, jazzy comments, you know, to people. It's part of my persona. It's part of my role, you know, it in society. Not in society, no. My role around people, when I'm in a crowd, when I'm on a bus, you know, wherever. I have like a role which is to make these, being trans, I have a role which is to make these strange comments, you know. And another role of being trans is to get comments off people, because when people, let me get this right, I just, for some reason, being trans makes me more alluring as a person for people to make their comments to. It may be part of my role as a trans person that I make all these comments, that also opens the way for people to make comments to me. You know, people are very perceptive, and when they look at me, they see someone who, they just see my energy, which is like somebody who receives comments and gives comments. You know, they see someone, maybe they just see someone open, you know. And yeah, I just want to say a few words more, not too many, you know. They see someone open, and they, something special about being trans, you know. I shine this like energy, and people just want to make comments to me everywhere I go, you know. They just feel like, maybe they like me, I don't know. Maybe I show like a positivity and a love or something like that, you know. I don't want to get too into that, but you know, I do love myself, and I do feel that, see, this is why I want to be able to handle what people are saying, because I want to embody more love. And I know how much joy I get from just throwing out these, you know, my role as a trans person, just throwing out these strange and weird comments, you know, when I'm in a crowd or crowded place, you know. It's literally to entertain people, to give them something special, you know, something authentic, something of my own flavour, you know. I do have a flavour, and I do like to share that with people. Anyway, this video is getting quite long, so I'm going to wrap it up. But I don't know what the hell I'm going to call it. I mean, I've started just that I wanted to talk, and yeah, I've enjoyed what I'm saying. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you something. I'd say something to think about, but what's entering my awareness now is my mom, because she says that the things I say are like thought-provoking, and that's really strange because as a person I don't really think that much. I don't really believe that anyone does. I mean, you know how, like, when I'm out and about, when I'm somewhere where there's lots of people, you know, I can tell that everybody's listening really hard, or, you know, everybody's listening really hard. People are staying present. People are clearly not thinking, because if they were thinking, you know, they would be distracted and they wouldn't be able to pay attention to what's going on, you know. So I know that people tend not to think, really. So it's strange that she says, like, the things I say are thought-provoking. I mean, does that mean that, like, I'm disturbing people and I'm getting them off balance and I'm making them, you know, think about, you know, whatever comment I've made? Has it, like, sparked off some kind of new direction in their minds? You know, has it sent them off in, like, a new direction, you know, and got them, maybe that's what I do to people. Anyway, I've got to stop this video because it's getting very, very long. So I'm just going to say, I hope you enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in another video. So goodbye.